See, you thought I was lying about it all being alphas. It's alpha. Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily Reddit content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. I have some tragic news, friends. I made an rSlash niceguys video and look at this, look at this. How you gonna do me like that, YouTube? How are you going to do me like that? So I thought I'd jump back in, make another video while that one gets reviewed. So today we're jumping into rSlash Tales of Neckbeards. Yes, indeed, we've got two alpha beards today. And both of them are from returning authors, which is super cool. We've got Eli EIO, who wrote the story about a neckbeard that got attacked by a dog. And then we got Mountain Man 6666, who wrote the Police Officers versus Neckbeard, and also the Retro Beard Neckbeard stories. So all of those links are in the description if you'd like to go in there, get a little more flavor from these authors. Definitely some good stories. So I'm looking forward to what they have for us today. Little bit sad about the Nice Guys video, but you know, no crying over spilt milk. Gotta keep my head up, gotta wage max. You know what I'm saying? And it's just perils of the job, I do suppose. But anyways, let's get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way. I will stop crying and we will get straight into some high quality neckbeard cringe. The Battle of the Alpha Beards. Oh, snap. You thought I was lying when I said they was alpha. Hello, fellow neckbeard undergrads. 'Tis I, the man without a plan, and your narrator. I made a post a while back about some of the incidents that happened at my school and realized I had a friend who was personally involved in one incident, the Anime Club Wars. It's a hell of an anime crossover. I wasn't personally involved, and this is coming from my friend from school who was involved, so take it all with a grain of salt, and also get your gas masks because this is another tale that is foul in odor and taste. You've been warned twice now. Before we really begin, I figured we should have a list of the characters. Bunny was my friend at the time, an immigrant from Norway, who was considered one of the kindest and coolest people in our school. She was 6 foot, and spent most of her time either running or lifting weights. One Piece Beard, a neckbeard that believed One Piece was the ultimate anime, and wore a straw hat that he would carry everywhere. No way, dude. Bleach Beard, a neckbeard that believed Bleach was the ultimate anime, and was the king of handmade fingerless gloves. Oh god, I can't pick sides. So, as I said before, our school had a serious neckbeard problem. It was a land of BO and waifus that managed to even put conventions to shame. Naturally, as a result, we had an anime club. This anime club was originally run by the Elder Beards. But after they graduated, it was handed down to their sophomore proteges, Bleachbeard and One Piece Beard. Now, Bleachbeard and One Piece Beard were not the most palatable of individuals, as is often the case with neckbeards. Bleachbeard was known for being racist, oh hooray, and wearing a Confederate flag trucker hat everywhere. He also talked openly about supremacy. He was as scrawny as a twig and stunk like a rotting animal a lot of the time. Altogether, yeah, he was disgusting, inside and out. Bro, we can't say anything about supremacy, dude. This is gonna get demonetized again, I swear to God. Ugh. One Piece Beard was a loud and proud traditional alpha male who openly believed that he was the most irresistible man to ever live. He was fairly fit, but he also wore dirty clothes and talked openly about wanting to find a nice and traditional wife who he could start a Christian family with. God, they're 2 peas in a pod, aren't they? As you can imagine, they were each other's only friends. Yeah, I guess I could imagine that. I still don't really get why they were the senior members' choice, but birds of a feather, I guess. They of course wanted their club to thrive so they could bring their masters honor and glory. But there's a rule that was causing them lots of trouble. You have to have, at the very least, 2 girls for every 4 guys in your club. Hey bro, how about we reduce fractions, alright? How about 1 girl for every 2 guys? That's not gonna work. We only do this in multiples of 6. Alright, I got you. Now I personally never fully understood this rule, but it was a rule nonetheless. As you can imagine, not many girls in the school wanted to join the club. Due to the intense gatekeeping and generally shitty attitude of the head beards who ran it. To attempt to lure some females in, they made an announcement that the anime club was going to be having a sort of movie events with snacks and karaoke after school, and that they would be showing Howl's Moving Castle. Oh, that's a great movie. Surprisingly, their plan actually worked, because that's a great movie. According to Bunny, they were on their best behavior and covered their manly musk with what else but Axe body spray. The night went well and nothing particularly exciting happened, so Bunny and one other girl decided that they would join this seemingly fun and enjoyable club. Oh, how sweet and innocent they were to this dangerous and foul trap that they had fallen into. The next 2 sessions at the club were also just as pleasant and calm, but it was the 3rd session that revealed the true colors of the other members. The club had just recently finished Fairy Tail, and now it was time to pick a new series. It's obvious, but both beards had the final say, and both wanted their namesake show to be next. Haven't you already watched it before though, bro? Let's expand our horizons, how about? But that's not what neckbeards do. And this is how Bunny says the conversation went. One Piece Beard.
Well, naturally, since we have some new members, we should show a true classic for them.
Bleach Beard.
I agree, and clearly a show like Bleach could help.
One Piece Beard.
Bleach? That's not a classic at all. One Piece would be the clearly superior choice.
Bunny. If I could interject. Bleach Beard.
You don't get to interrupt the heads of this club.
One Piece Beard.
We're gonna do One Piece.
Bleach Beard.
No, it's too long and the animation sucks.
My dear reader, this comment is what truly caused things to get really serious. You see, Bleachbeard had just insulted One Piece Beard's honor, his joy, his one and only true happiness. Bunny said that One Piece Beard threw himself at Bleachbeard, screeching like an animal as they began to wrestle and thrash like 2 very uncoordinated and exceptionally fat ferrets. Now, personally, I would have just let them fight and figure it out themselves, but Bunny was the type to be a peacekeeper. She and 2 other members of the club pried them apart and had to hold them away from each other lest they throttle each other to death. The school security officer soon arrived and both boys were sent off to the office. To make a long story short, they declared each other
mortal enemies.
And the club was split between the 2 of them. Both clubs ended up disbanding 4 months later after no girls would join either club. Sorry if this was a bit of an anticlimactic end, but that's just how things go, I suppose. Thanks for reading, and remember to drink some water and eat a vegetable or 2. Oh boy, those beards sure got themselves in a heap of trouble, huh? How are they gonna get out of this one? Well, the truth is they didn't, and for good reason. The club honestly sounds like an absolute nightmare to me. I'm not particularly into anime, and I do know that Bleach and One Piece are both like exceptionally long. More time than I would be willing to commit to one anime, honestly. I mean, it's cool if you enjoy stuff, that's great, but don't make it your whole identity. Don't fight somebody else because they don't like the thing that you like. It's like such a waste of mental energy, man. That's honestly my way of dealing with most things, you know? Somebody come up to me, they're like, hey, ReddX, how do you stay like cool and collected all the time? And I'm just like, well, I don't really bother arguing with people. I just tell them that they're right. And he's like, oh, that's so irrational and illogical. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's over now. Let's move on. It's always amazing to me how like fandoms ruin most things, you know? I would never identify myself as a fan of something. That's just like sticking yourself in a box for no reason, you know? I've been over this before, but like, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a gamer, I'm a bunch of other things, but not one of these things defines me completely, you know? Whereas it seems like Bleach Beard and One Piece Beard seem to have their entire personality revolve around an exceptionally long anime series. And I just don't get it, honestly. Like things, but do not be consumed by those things. All right, that's enough platitudes, I guess. We'll go ahead and move on into the next story and see how a police officer deals with maybe a neckbeard, maybe a wild man. I guess we'll have to classify him once we read the story.
Alpha, the full story.
See, you thought I was lying about it all being alphas. It's alpha. He's alpha. What do you want? Hello, Reddit. A few months ago, I posted a series about neckbeards that I met when I was a police officer. In one of my stories, I made a casual reference to Alpha, the alcoholic who would get blackout drunk, take off his clothes, and howl at the moon. People seem to like this, so I decided to post the full story of Alpha. He might not check too many of the neckbeard boxes, but I hope that alcohol-fueled delusions of lycanthropy are enough to qualify. Bro, definitely. Let me tell you that much. I've seen too many neckbeard werewolves in my time. So one day I heard a story from one of the other officers about a guy who got drunk and ran around in the woods in just his underwear while howling at the moon. We all had a good laugh. Someone nicknamed him Alpha, and the name stuck, so that's what I'll call him. We thought this would just be a one-time thing, but it wasn't. A few weeks later, it happened. I heard the dispatcher's voice crackle on the radio. She said, remember Alpha? Well, he's doing it again. Over. Long story short, I ended up getting sent to deal with it. Now, on one hand, I didn't want to chase a naked idiot through the woods at night. But on the other hand, I was genuinely worried about him. He was drunk, alone, almost naked, in the woods, at night, in February, in New Hampshire. How could this end badly? It was about 25 degrees Fahrenheit, -4 Celsius. Water will freeze out there. Frostbite and hypothermia were a serious risk for our dear wolf man. So in addition to sending me, they sent an ambulance, which arrived as I was looking for Alpha in the woods. It's too wild, dude. What a rich tapestry our planet is. I pulled up in front of Alpha's house and got out of my car. I'm guessing his wife heard me pull in because she ran out the front door and started babbling in one run-on and only semi-coherent sentence. This was 16 years ago, so I don't remember the exact words, but I've recreated them the best that I could. Her,
oh my god, I'm so relieved you're here. My husband got drunk and ran out in the woods. He thinks he's a werewolf. Please help him. I'm so worried he's gonna die out there. Oh my god.
OP,
Calm down. Take a breath. He'll be fine. I'll go bring him back.
Her,
Can I come with you? I'm so scared. I just need to make sure he's okay. Oh, he's my dear husband.
At this point, I had to take a pause. I could tell she was really worried about him and wanted to go find him, but at the same time, I had enough on my plate already, having to shepherd a drunken werewolf back home. The last thing I needed was to have to shepherd a panicked woman and a drunken werewolf. I saw two young children peering out at us through the window of the house and decided that would be my excuse. OP,
No, I think you should stay here and keep an eye on your kids. I'll go find your husband.
her,
Well, okay.
OP.
Where did he go? Just into the woods behind your house?
Her.
Yeah, he went out the back gate and into the woods, and I don't know where he went from there.
OP.
Okay, go back inside, please. I'll bring your husband back. Come with me if you want to live.
And with that, I walked around the house and out the back gate. I took my flashlight off my belt and looked at the ground behind the gate. Lo and behold, there were Alpha's footprints. So I started following him into the woods. We heard that Alpha was really drunk, so I wasn't surprised to see his footprints were erratic and didn't really travel in any particular direction. He was just drunkenly stumbling around. A minute or so later, I heard it. Alpha was howling. It imagined about how you would imagine a drunk idiot attempting to howl would sound. Now that I heard him, I could tell where he was, and I started walking in that direction. I felt fear grip my heart. Here I was, alone in the woods at night, with a rabid beast that was now on the hunt. I had my handgun, of course, but it was loaded with standard lead bullets, not silver. I doubted that it would take the beast down in time. No, not really. What actually happened was like a minute or two later, I found Alpha just sitting on a log. Alpha himself looked surprisingly unremarkable. He was probably in his mid-30s, with an average build, short black hair, and a short beard.
Did the beard go to his neck?
He was dressed in just his underwear, with socks and shoes, for good measure. He'd somehow managed to take off his pants while keeping his shoes on, which was actually a good thing because it meant that frostbite in his feet wasn't as much of a concern. I was still worried though. Alcohol makes hypothermia significantly harder to identify, so I still wasn't sure. Some of the common symptoms of hypothermia are slurred or slowed speech, lack of balance and lack of coordination, and maybe some confusion. And basically all of these are impossible to distinguish from downright intoxication. Alpha was shivering though, which despite what you might think is actually somewhat of a good sign. In cases of severe hypothermia, the person's internal temperature drops enough that they actually stop shivering. So this made it clear that Alpha at least hadn't reached that point quite yet. Overall, I wasn't too worried about it because Alpha couldn't have been in the woods for all that long, but it was still somewhat of a concern. As I shined my light on him, Alpha looked up at me with surprise and confusion on his face. Believe it or not, drunken werewolves aren't something that they cover in Police Academy. So I really wasn't sure what to do. I said,
"Oh, hi. What are you doing out here?"
Alpha's eyes widened a little, but he didn't say anything. So I continued.
"Your wife is really worried about you. Come on, let's get you back home."
Alpha mumbled something unintelligible, so I tried again.
"It's below freezing out here. You must be pretty cold. Come with me. I'll get you warmed up. Get to the chopper."
That finally did it. He stood up and started walking towards me. He only got about 10 feet before he stumbled to the side and just fell over. I walked over and hauled him back up. After I stood him up, I put my 2 fingers on his wrist to check his pulse. A slow and weak pulse is another sign of hypothermia, but Alpha's pulse felt normal, so that dispelled my fears even more. I could see the lights from his house through the trees, so I just started walking in that direction. It felt like we walked a really long way, but in reality it was probably less than a quarter mile. Of course, a quarter mile does feel like a long way when you're towing a drunk werewolf idiot with you. We got back to Alpha's yard and walked around to the front of the house, and the first person we saw was Alpha's wife. She ran over and started babbling again, saying
how relieved she was to see him safe and have him back.
But her joy quickly turned to anger, and she began yelling at Alpha for, getting drunk and running around in his underwear in the woods. And having to have a poor police officer rescue him. She continued until we reached the driveway where an ambulance had pulled up. I handed Alpha off to the paramedics and they started checking his heart rate and temperature and things just to make sure that he was okay. Alpha turned out to be fine, and his wife took him inside. I thought that would be the end of my interactions with him, But boy, I was wrong. Alpha's shenanigans occurred 2 more times, but I didn't respond to them. He transformed a 5th time though, and I did respond to that one. Looking back, I respond to more than my fair share of weird calls. I'm not convinced it was just by chance, but I digress. Well, I'm sure the dispatcher has some ideas of like who's better at dealing with the weirdos. So that's you, OP. Good job. This time, Alpha cranked it up a notch. There was indeed a full moon that night, and Alpha had climbed on his neighbor's roof and was howling at the moon. This time it was a few months later and it was pretty warm, so I wasn't too worried about his safety, aside from him being on a roof, right? I pulled into his driveway and got out of my car. Alpha's wife was waiting for me again, and she started babbling once more. But this time there was no concern in her voice, just anger.
He's on the roof! The roof! This is it! If he doesn't stop this werewolf, I am divorcing him!
OP.
Okay, take a deep breath. Which roof is he on?
Over there!
She pointed to a house diagonally across the street. I looked in the direction that she pointed, but it was so dark I couldn't see anything. I started walking over in that direction, and about 30 seconds later I heard Alpha howling again. Yeah, that was definitely where he was. I reached the house and I figured I should knock on the door to let people know that I was there. I should at least do them that courtesy before I started hunting a werewolf on their property. I knocked on the door and a scared looking woman answered. She saw who I was and she relaxed a little. OP.
Hi, I'm here about the werewolf.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, he's on the roof. OP.
Stay inside, please. I'll get him down.
I walked around the side of the house and shined my flashlight up at the roof. There, I beheld Alpha, sitting on the ridge of the roof in his underwear. I called up to him.
Hey, remember me? We met about 2 months ago.
No. Alpha slurred back at me. I said,
yeah, I helped you to get back home from in the woods. Come down off the roof. I want to talk to you.
He slurred something unintelligible back at me. At this point, I heard Alpha's wife's voice from behind me, and she sounded really mad. She said,
Alpha! Get down off that roof right now and come home, or I'm getting a divorce!
This struck a chord in the beast's heart. He made his way to the edge of the roof and slid off the edge, breaking his fall by face planting into the grass. The beast was uninjured though, and he staggered to his feet and his wife began to drag him back. She took him inside, but not before I gave her some pamphlets for a local alcohol rehab center. Alpha, to his credit, did go to rehab and stop drinking. Hey, happy ending. I love stories with a happy ending. This was 15 years ago, and we haven't heard any more news from Alpha, so if he's going on 16 years sober, then good for him. About a month after the roof incident, Alpha came to the police station to say thank you to us for helping him. He even brought us food from a local sandwich shop to say thanks. You might be asking yourself why we didn't do anything besides just bring him home, and the answer to that is, except for trespassing on his neighbor's property, he never really broke any laws. We talked with his neighbors, and they said that it wasn't worth the hassle of pressing charges for trespassing, which is a sentiment that I wholeheartedly agree with. There was no malice in the man, he was just a drunken, confused werewolf. I do wish Alpha the best. He's changed his ways, and for that, I'm happy for him. We never saw Alpha again, but I doubt that I'll ever forget him. And now he is immortalized in video format. What a wild ride, man. I'm so glad that he was able to get help and, you know, stop drinking, stop thinking that he was a werewolf. Because it seems like he only really thought he was a werewolf when he was like pissed drunk, you know? Is he a neckbeard? Well, probably not, but I figured I'd stick him in this story just the same because it is certainly an interesting case study. We don't know much about him aside from the fact that he likes to get naked and drunk in the woods and howl at the moon. Oh my god, dude. That is so out there. I'm sure being a police officer is an exceedingly difficult job, but things like this probably really help to break up the monotony. So, those are my alpha beard tales. A little bit shorter than usual, because I'm trying to push this video out. This is basically a catch-up video, since I didn't want to publish the demonetized Nice Guys video. Although I do think it's nice that YouTube was able to tell me that it was demonetized. But ugh, what a pain. I hope that you guys will like, comment, and or subscribe. Maybe share the video around if you should like. I would definitely appreciate that. Also, check out the links in the description. We got Wifey's channel, Mr. and Mrs. ReddX, my Teespring if you're trying to rock the merch, my personal subreddit, r/ReddX Reads, where these stories were posted, and of course my Amazon affiliate link. If you're trying to buy something on Amazon, you can do it through that link. It goes to my microphone, but you can buy anything there, and it'll break me off a little piece, which is massively appreciated. We've also got social medias down there, you know, the Twitter and the Discord and the Facebook. Oh, and my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. I would like to thank them all, but especially ZeroMMX, Lady Nix, Robert Waits, Pope Squid, Rebecca H, Cider Drinker, Tato Ferret, The Last Shinobi, Mark 211, Michael Undead, Aaron W, Mitch, John Hero, Candy Sora, Fire Drake, DigiNZ, Little Lone Wolf, Miss Monday, Silent Revolver, JM Coon, Leon Embers, TSM Kirby, Redwind, Synaptic Boomstick, Jerry, Staples, Yeet, and Devindra. Thank you guys so much for helping me out with the videos that do get demonetized. You know, apparently proof is in the pudding. It happens more often than we'd like to admit. At least this one was able to get caught before it went live, but if anybody else can help me out with them demonetized videos, support the channel. That is absolutely massive. I thank you so much in advance. But if you can't right now, then don't sweat it too hard, friends. I just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope that you come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. Because really, the views is how my beard stays so buttered. In order to do so, you need to keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today. Ooh, maybe watching some more ReddX videos. Yeah, sounds awesome. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I will see you in the next one. And until then, bye-bye.